The summer heat clung to the cul-de-sac like a damp towel, making the white vinyl fences shimmer in the July sun. I had lived in Oak Ridge Estates for 5 years now, and if there was one thing I'd learned, it was that appearances mattered more than anything else. Fresh-cut lawns, pressure-washed driveways, flower beds trimmed to perfection. It was the kind of neighborhood where even the color of your trash cans could get you fined. I never thought much about the HOA rules when I moved in. Back then, it was just me and my wife, Melissa, chasing the American dream. A little house, a big garage, and enough space to build my woodworking shop. That garage wasn't just a storage space, it was my sanctuary. Every evening after work, I'd slide the heavy door open, breathe in the scent of sawdust and oil, and lose myself in building furniture. It kept me sane. But the thing about sanctuaries is, someone's always ready to storm the gates. In Oak Ridge, that someone was Karen Whitfield. Karen wasn't just a neighbor. She was the self-appointed sheriff of the HOA, the queen bee of compliance. With her platinum blonde bob, oversized sunglasses, and clipboard always tucked under her arm, she patrolled the neighborhood like it was her personal kingdom. People whispered about her at block parties, but no one dared cross her outright. She had a way of turning small infractions into scandals. For months, I'd caught her standing at the edge of my driveway, glaring at the garage. At first, I ignored it. Then came the notes. Neat little slips of paper taped to my door. Noise after 8 p.m. violates community standards. Garage doors are to remain closed when not in use. Unapproved modifications may result in fines. I tried to laugh it off. Melissa said, "Don't let her get under your skin, babe. She's just lonely." But Karen's obsession grew. One afternoon, I came home to find her snapping photos of my garage with her phone. When I asked what the hell she was doing, she smirked and said, "Documenting violations." That night, I told Melissa, she's not going to stop until she finds something to bury us with. I didn't realize how right I was. It was a Friday evening when it happened. I had the garage wide open, country music spilling from an old radio, and a half-finished oak table clamped on the workbench. The sweet smell of varnish hung in the air. That's when I saw the squad cars. 2 of them, rolling slow into the cul-de-sac, lights flashing but sirens silent. Melissa peeked through the blinds. "Are they stopping here?" The cars pulled up right in front of our house. Doors opened, boots hit the asphalt. And behind them, smiling like she'd just won the lottery, stood Karen, clipboard in hand. My heart hammered. What the hell did she tell them? The officer approached. "Sir, we need to have a look inside your garage. We've received a report of illegal activity." The officer's voice was calm but heavy with authority. "Step aside, sir. We just need to take a quick look." Melissa rushed to the doorway. "Wait, illegal activity? In our garage? That's insane." Karen stood a few feet back, arms folded across her floral blouse, eyes glinting with smug satisfaction. She chimed in loud enough for the neighbors now gathering on their porches. "I told you something shady was going on in there. Smelled like chemicals, loud banging at night. Probably a drug lab, or something worse." Gasps rippled down the cul-de-sac. I almost laughed. It was so absurd. My garage, with its piles of lumber, cans of varnish, and shelves of tools, mistaken for some kind of meth den? But the sight of officers resting their hands on their belts reminded me this wasn't funny. I swallowed hard. "You're welcome to come in. I've got nothing to hide." Inside, the air was warm and heavy with varnish. The fluorescent bulbs buzzed above. The officers scanned everything: workbench, clamps, sawdust-covered floor. One of them lifted a jar of wood stain, unscrewed the cap, and sniffed. "Furniture polish," I said dryly. "Not exactly cartel-level contraband." The other officer scribbled something on his notepad, then glanced at Karen, who hovered just outside the threshold. "Ma'am, are you the one who filed the report?" She straightened proudly. "Yes, I've been keeping an eye on this garage for months. The smells, the noises. Look, I know a cover-up when I see one. He's hiding something." I stepped forward, heat rising in my chest. "Are you kidding me? You're harassing me because you don't like that I keep my garage door open." Karen sneered. "Rules are rules. This neighborhood has standards. You think you're above them?" Melissa's voice cracked with anger. "Standards? You just called the police on us because my husband builds tables. Do you realize how humiliating this is?" The younger officer raised his hands to calm the storm. "All right, everyone, let's keep it civil. From what I see, this is just a home workshop. Nothing illegal here. Relief washed over me, but it was short-lived. Karen wasn't backing down. She pointed toward the shelves stacked with sealed boxes. What about those? Ever wonder why he never lets anyone see what's in them? Could be stolen goods. Could be weapons. The older officer's expression hardened. Sir, I'm going to need you to open those boxes. I froze. Those boxes weren't dangerous, but they were personal. Keepsakes from my late father, old tools, letters, photo albums. Things that had nothing to do with Karen or the HOA, but everything to do with me. Melissa touched my arm, whispering, "Don't let her take this from you." I felt the whole neighborhood watching, waiting to see if I'd explode or fold. Karen's grin widened, the corners of her lips twitching with anticipation. For the first time in years, I realized this wasn't about HOA rules anymore. This was war. The officer's request hung in the air like a guillotine. Open the boxes, sir. Melissa tightened her grip on my arm. You don't have to. You've done nothing wrong. But I knew how it looked. 2 squad cars in front of my house, neighbors whispering on their lawns, Karen circling like a vulture. If I refused, I'd seem guilty. If I complied, I'd be letting her win, letting her drag my father's legacy into her circus. My voice was steady, though my insides were churning. These boxes hold personal items, family heirlooms, not contraband. I don't consent to a search without a warrant. Karen exploded. Huh, there it is. Did you hear that, officers? He's hiding something. Why else would he refuse? The older cop, Officer Daniels, gave her a sharp look. Ma'am, we don't need commentary. But Karen wasn't shutting up. She marched right up to the threshold, waving her clipboard like a sword. This entire garage violates HOA standards. Open storage, hazardous materials, noise disturbances. This man is a danger to our community. I snapped. The only danger around here is you, Karen. You've harassed me for months, and now you've wasted police resources because you don't like the smell of wood stain. Her face twisted, her voice rising high-pitched and shrill. You think you can just ignore the rules? I've kept this neighborhood perfect for 15 years, and I won't let you ruin it. Melissa stepped forward, her voice trembling but fierce. Perfect? Karen, you've turned this place into a prison. No kids can play outside without you calling it noise pollution. No family can decorate for the holidays without you complaining about the lights. You don't care about rules. You care about control. The neighbors murmured. For the first time, I saw doubt flicker in their eyes. Even the Johnsons across the street, who always seemed to nod along with Karen, were whispering to each other. Daniels exhaled slowly. All right, I've seen enough. Unless you've got real evidence, ma'am, we're done here. This garage is clean. Karen's eyes widened. You can't just take his word. He's manipulating you, don't you see? She turned to the crowd. You all know I've been right before. Do you want drugs, stolen property, crime festering in your neighborhood? Silence. No one backed her up. Something in her snapped. She shoved past the officers, storming into my garage like she owned the place. Fine. I'll prove it myself. That's when everything went sideways. Melissa gasped. Karen, stop. I moved to block her, but she lunged for one of the boxes, tearing at the tape. Daniels barked. Ma'am, step back. Now, the younger officer grabbed her arm, but not before she ripped the box open, spilling its contents across the concrete. Out tumbled my father's old Navy uniform, a stack of letters tied with a fraying ribbon, and a photograph of him in front of his ship. The world froze. My father's memory, my private grief, now scattered under Karen's shoes. A hush fell over the cul-de-sac. Even Karen faltered, her rage momentarily drowned by the sight of something so raw, so human. I knelt, gathering the pieces with trembling hands. My throat tightened. This was my dad's. He passed 2 years ago. These boxes are all I have left of him. Melissa dropped beside me, tears brimming. You didn't have the right, Karen. Nobody had the right. For once, Karen was speechless. Her face reddened, her lips parted, but no words came. Daniels stepped forward, his voice low and edged with fury. Ma'am, you just crossed a line. This isn't an HOA issue anymore. You've interfered with a police investigation and destroyed private property. You're coming with us. Gasps erupted from the crowd. Karen shrieked, twisting in the officer's grip. You can't arrest me. I'm the HOA president. I run this neighborhood. But for the first time, nobody believed her. The sound of handcuffs clicking shut echoed louder than the cicadas in the trees. The red and blue lights washed over Karen's face as Officer Daniels led her toward the squad car. Her voice, usually sharp as a knife, cracked with desperation. "You'll regret this. I was protecting the neighborhood. He's the problem, not me." But no one moved to defend her. Neighbors who once avoided her gaze now stared openly, some with disgust, some with quiet relief. The Johnsons shook their heads, and old Mr. Henderson muttered loud enough for everyone to hear. About time somebody stood up to her. Melissa helped me gather the scattered relics of my father. She held the photograph close, brushing dirt from the frame. "He deserved better than this," she whispered. I swallowed hard, my chest heavy but lighter than it had been in months. "So do we." The younger officer crouched beside me, his tone gentler now. "Sir, I'm sorry you had to go through that. From what we saw tonight, you've done nothing wrong. If she files another complaint, just know it'll be taken a lot less seriously." Daniels returned, dusting off his hands. "We'll file a report. You can press charges for destruction of property if you'd like." I looked at Karen, thrashing in the back seat of the squad car, screaming through the glass as if the world still belonged to her. Part of me wanted to say yes, to make her pay. But another part of me, the part that had lived under her shadow for too long, just wanted peace. Melissa squeezed my hand. She already lost everything that mattered to her, control. Maybe that's punishment enough. I nodded slowly. "Let it go." The officers drove off, Karen's voice fading into the distance. The cul-de-sac felt different, quieter, freer. The neighbors drifted back into their homes, but not before a few came over. "You handled that better than I would have," one said. "You've got a hell of a garage," another added with a smile. For the first time, I felt like more than just an outsider in Oak Ridge Estates. I felt seen. Later that night, after the lights were gone and silence returned, I stood in the garage. The boxes were stacked neatly again, my father's uniform folded with care. The smell of sawdust and varnish lingered, grounding me. Melissa leaned against the doorframe. "You okay?" I ran my hand along the oak table I'd been building, the grain catching the light. "Yeah, for the first time in a long time, I think I am." She smiled softly. "You know, your dad would have loved this table." I pictured him, standing in the doorway with that half-smile of pride. "Yeah, he would have told me the legs are crooked, though." We both laughed, the sound echoing warm and true in the garage that had once felt like a battleground but now felt like home again. By the next morning, word had spread. Karen wasn't just arrested, she was removed from the HOA board. A special meeting voted her out unanimously. The clipboard queen had finally been dethroned. And as I opened my garage door, sunlight pouring in, I knew one thing for certain. The sanctuary was mine again.